Well, 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 we live to see another Bruins playoff game. Whew. This one probably took a couple years off of my life just due to the stress of this being such a close game. But the Bruins get it done, taking this one 2-1 in overtime in Buffalo, which is huge, to make the series 3-2, force a game 6 back home in Boston on Friday. So let's break it all down, starting in period one, where the Bruins make kind of their biggest mistake of the night. 3 minutes in, where Mark Kastelik just takes a hack at Zach Benson, who, like, fair enough, took a hack at David Pastrnak the game before. And I commented, wrote in my notes, I get it, but we really can't be tempting fate. I know the Buffalo power play hasn't scored in the month of April, and frankly, had we made it to Friday, we actually would have accomplished them not scoring a single power play goal in the entire month. Unfortunately, that streak comes to a screeching halt as Rasmus Dahlin gets Buffalo's first power play goal of the series. Just, let's see, 3 minutes and 35 seconds into the period. So Bruins were down immediately. It was not a good feeling because this was the position we found ourselves in game 4. It's not a good look. And of course, it was one of those, like, the puck hits the inside of the post and bounces in, and it's had that puck been any further to the side, it might have just bounced out, but finds bounce, gets in. Bruins brought all the pressure they could. They hit a post during their own power play. They couldn't convert on that. And again, Bruins had their foot on the gas here in the first period, and once things settled down a little bit after the Buffalo goal, it felt a little bit different. Like, okay, the Bruins aren't going to immediately collapse and let this turn into another game 4 situation. So they really brought the pressure, and you could leave period 1 thinking if the Bruins play like this, like, they can make it happen. So I wasn't crazy anxious yet in the second period. Bruins did get a big penalty kill about 6 minutes into the period, and then Elias Lindholm breaks the ice for the Bruins. Really good sustained zone pressure, takes a rebound, comes back out to him, and he just kind of spins around right in front of the net and fires it. Goes off of Lyon's left pad, just kind of clips the top of it and manages to get through. Ties it up 1-1 just over halfway through the second period. And maybe 15 seconds later, if not less, there's a mishandled puck back in the Bruins zone where Swayman, like, goes out to play it, and as he's coming back, it bounces off a skate and is heading straight towards the goal line. He, like, flops down on it, and the puck somehow stays out of the net, but that could have been a very different future had Swayman not stopped that and the Bruins go down 2-1 there. But it is what it is. The Bruins just got chance after chance in the second period. In fact, Zacha missed wide, and then Aspero had a second chance that hit a post. The Bruins got a power play with about 6 minutes left and really was hoping they would get something. Geekie just missed a wide open net. And to make matters worse, the Bruins get a high stick at the end of their own power play to give Buffalo power play. That gets shut down because, again, the Sabres got their one for the month of April, so we're good there. And then period 3, it's the same thing where Buffalo had a little bit better pressure, I'd say. In period 3, that was where I was really starting to set in, where it's like, okay, the Bruins have looked good through 2. We have a tie game. We're in a good spot, but one goal, and I think this game gets completely out of hand. Frankly, if the Bruins score, like, yeah, I'll feel okay. Buffalo's proven they can make a comeback. Whereas if Buffalo scored, that would have been just a mental spiral for me. So, doesn't happen. But again, Bruins get some power play opportunities. They're getting good looks. They're getting shots on net. And again, they're racking up that shots on goal. And you're thinking they're bound to get something to break through. But I'd say toward the middle, maybe the last, like, 7 minutes of this period, it felt a lot more like the Bruins were just trying not to lose rather than they were trying to win. And I was a little worried because I think they had been the better team through most of the game. And I felt like they just weren't going to jump on the opportunity enough to get it done. So I was a little worried, but they managed to accomplish the first goal of not losing. They let it go to overtime. the announcers break out the great stat that Jeremy Swayman in 3 overtime performances has played a cumulative about 13 minutes, meaning this one was probably going to be over quick too. And I didn't love thinking about that, but they weren't exactly wrong. So the first crazy note is that the ref just doesn't blow a puck dead that kind of got under Lions' pad. And Sean Corrali, not hearing a whistle, just taps at it and tucks it under his pad, clearly crosses the goal line, but the refs wave it off and are very adamant that the intention was to freeze the play, therefore the puck is frozen, which I have seen refs let a puck sit stagnant for a whole lot longer before calling that as a frozen puck. So, I mean, frankly, I just wanted the game to be over and the Bruins win. So, like, I was going to really hold on to that. And I think it's now something that no one's ever going to talk about because it didn't matter. But in a playoffs where a lot of other things have been talked about time and time again, influencing the outcome of games, that was kind of in the back of my mind. But again, doesn't matter because minutes later, Hampus Lindholm fires a stretch pass that gets David Pastrnak in stride in the Buffalo zone, makes a couple of moves and just squeaks it around Alex Lyon, barely tucking it around his skate. And the Lindholm to Pasta connection in overtime once again comes through for us in the biggest moments. So that was huge. I was so unbelievably hyped, pumping my fist, just going crazy, sitting alone inside my apartment. But it's a great win. It felt like a game the Bruins deserved to win. They were the better team. They played better, and it was exciting to see them get the outcome of that. Because again, it's overtime and your season's on the line. Like one misfire, one miscue, one missed puck is the end of your season. And the Bruins played like it. I think I would like to see them have a bit of a higher margin in future games where it's like, all right, they really got to hold on this one and I don't have to sweat it down to the line. But a win's a win. We're taking it and we're headed back to Boston. So this was such an interesting game because every single line for the Bruins was shifted besides the fourth line with the Arvidsson injury. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. He was not in for this game. And speaking of injuries, Ostlund for the Sabres went out in the first period. That shook up their entire line, but they have somebody else returning to their lineup in the next game, I believe. So that might kind of cancel out some changes there. But Ostlund's been really good for the Sabres. So chance for the Bruins to kind of jump ahead here if he doesn't come back. But top line was Susnadinov, Zacha, Pasta. And then we had second line with Middlestat, Minton, and Geeky. Third line with Asamont, Lindholm, and Steves. And then that fourth line actually stuck together, Janot, Corrali, and Kastelik. But I honestly didn't hate what I saw. I didn't mind these line combinations, getting Asamont in there, getting Steves in there. He looked good. Henry Jokiharju also made his Bruins playoff debut. I thought he played pretty well. They're still trying to figure out what to do with kind of that second D pairing, but everybody else stays the same. I think, nobody jumps out at me as having like a particularly amazing or bad game. I think overall the team just played cohesively pretty well. I think still waiting for some of these younger guys to step up and have their moment, and God, let Morgan Geeky just bury an empty net puck. It's crazy, but Bruins got it done, and they get to play another game. It's one of those, I think you don't have to win the playoffs. You didn't have to win the playoffs in that game. You didn't have to win the series in that game. They just had to win one game to force game 6. Now they just got to go play a game at home, get a win on your home ice, give the fans a win on home ice in this playoffs, go from there. Then you got one game, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. The Bruins still have to get it done in game 6, which is again on Friday night in TD Garden. That's going to be a fun one. So let's see what the Bruins can do. They keep their season alive with an all-around solid performance tonight. And again, the biggest thanks to Jeremy Swayman for keeping the Bruins in this. This could have been, again, another just absolute dumpster fire of a game, but this man is doing everything he can to keep us in the series and was perfect after 3 minutes and 35 seconds into the game. So we have him to thank for everything. Shout out Jeremy Swayman, and the Bruins will play again game 6 on Friday night.